Man, I'm so excited about them doing that. All right, find a seat in the Bible. We got one. So I had little note cards. If you want to take notes up there, it's probably pretty obvious what we're going to be talking about. It's probably pretty obvious, I would think. So my goal is to get through this pretty quickly because I do want you guys to go to life groups and have plenty of time in there, especially being your first week back in a long time. And so I want you guys to have plenty of time in there. So over the next 4 weeks, we are going to be going through a series called Invest. And I think for most of us, this is a concept we kind of have some idea of, that we at least have some knowledge of what that means, what that looks like. Maybe our parents talk about it. Maybe your parents invest, right? We have some knowledge of what that means. And so as we get going here, my first question is this. Have you ever spent all your money on something and then wished you could take it back? No, I heard a resounding no. I've never done that. Huh? Have you ever spent all your money and wished you could have it back? Man, you really wanted whatever it was. You wanted that thing. You wanted something. You took all your money and you put it into it. And as soon as you did it, you have what is called buyer's remorse, right? You ever had buyer's remorse? My wife and I have buyer's remorse differently. I seem to have it immediately following, and my wife seems to have it a little while later, right? We both have buyer's remorse, but we seem to have it a little bit differently. As a kid, I had about $100, which was a lot of money as a kid, and I went and bought a Lego set, and as soon as I purchased the Lego set, I realized what I really wanted was the other Lego set, you know, the one with the train that has a little motor, and it still haunts me. I mean, there's a piece of me that wants to go buy it now just because I can, right now. I'm leaving right now to go get it. Jason, right? Have you ever wasted a whole day and regretted it? Woo. You ever gotten to the end of a day and thought, man, I actually did nothing today? I know there's some days, right, where that's needed, right? There's some days when where I just kind of need to take some rest, R&R. I haven't had that in a while recently, but there's just some days where you just need some rest. But there are other days where you kind of get to the end of the day and you're like, what have I done today? And the answer is nothing, right? We've all had those days. And so what we're talking about for the next 4 weeks is investing. What are we putting our time into? What are we putting our effort into? What are we putting our money into? We're going to be talking about relationships. We're going to be talking about our phones. We're going to be talking about our time. We're going to be talking about here, what life looks like when we come here together, right? What are you investing in? What are you spending your time on? So let's go to Galatians. Galatians 6, 7 through 10. And this is kind of the theme text for this. I like what he writes here. This is kind of a general rule. There are other places in the Bible, which we'll talk about a little bit tonight. Some you won't. Where it talks about more specifically what are we spending our time in. But this is kind of the general outline, right? This is kind of the general outline. Somebody give me a page number in the blue Bible. Galatians 6, 7 through 10. 8:12. 8:13 in the blue Bible. So Galatians 6, 7 through 10. I'll go ahead and read it so we can keep going here so I can get you guys life groups. Do not be deceived. God cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows. Whoever sows to please their flesh, from flesh will reap destruction. Whoever sows to please the Spirit, from the Spirit will reap eternal life. Let us not become weary in doing good. For the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Therefore, as we have opportunity, let us do good for all people, especially those who belong to the family of believers. I love how he starts it here. He starts off with 3 very strong imperative statements. Do not be deceived. Don't let anybody lie to you. Don't let anybody convince you otherwise. Don't let anybody draw you away. Don't let anybody force you to think something else. Don't be deceived, right? Don't be deceived. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. And what are we not being told otherwise? God cannot be mocked. Listen, you're not going to make a fool out of God. God will not be tricked. You're not going to get to the end of your life and God be like, oh, well, I didn't realize you were coming. He says God will not be mocked. He won't be lied to. He won't be tricked into something. He won't be made to look the fool. God will not be mocked. What will he not be mocked about? A man reaps what he sows. Do we understand what that means? Reaps what he sows. We don't really use that terminology very much. I like this definition. Don't let anybody pull the wool over your eyes. You can't turn up your nose to God, right? Don't let anybody do that. When we talk about reaping, we talk about sowing. You know what reaping is? Is when you take up the harvest, and sowing is where you put it down, right? He's saying whatever you put down, what are you going to get? What do you put down? Right, it's obvious. If it wasn't obvious, it'd be a problem. He's pointing out a pretty obvious law. It's kind of like the law, what goes up must come down. What goes up must come down. If I plant an orange seed, what am I going to get? An orange tree. If I plant an apple seed, what am I going to get? An apple tree. If I plant whatever the jack this thing is, what am I going to get? Whatever that thing is. It's obvious, right? But we don't act like that. With our time and with our money, we don't act like that. We know if we put something in the ground, that's what we're going to get. We know that if we water something, that's what's going to grow. But we often live our life like it's not true. We often act in such a way it's not true. So we waste our time and we waste our money and we waste our effort and we invest in things we shouldn't invest in. And then we get to the end of that and what do we wonder? Why are we in a bad spot? Right? Man, have you ever thought that? You ever put your money and time into something bad and then wonder, man, well, how did I get here? We live our lives like that. We act like that's not true. And it comes to school and it comes to our lives and everything else. If you don't spend time studying, what's probably going to happen? You're going to fail. But yet we get to that test and we pray, God, please let me pass this test. I used to have a teacher who used to pray, God, let them remember only what they've studied. And I said, that is not very nice. It's not very nice of you, right? We get to that point and we wonder what's happening. And so what I want to talk about is this idea as we kind of speed through this. I think terms that we are more used to is the term invest and cash out. Where you invest your time, where you put your time, where you put your effort, eventually one day you're going to have to what? You're going to have to reap it. One day you will have to cash out, right? You put all your time and effort into one basket. One day you're going to have to cash out. One day you're going to have to take it. One day you're going to be stuck with it. And what does Paul say at the beginning? Don't be fooled. God will not be mocked. God will not be mocked. Right? Don't let anybody lie to you. And so the question is, as we get closer to the end and you guys get ready to go to life groups, what are you investing in? What are you putting your time in? What are you putting your money in? What do you spend your days thinking about? What do you spend your time thinking about? What are you investing in? What takes up your time? What takes up what's going on? And so it's kind of like this. So I have two plants up here. I honestly don't know what either of them are. This one looks fancy. It's got a tag. We'll get there. Petra Croton. Oh boy. Petra Croton. So this is my Petra Croton. It's mine. You can have it at the end of this. I don't want it. Right? And this is my purple flower. My Mona lavender plectranthus. Right? So here's kind of how we live our life. So let's think about this for a second. Here's how we live our life. We have a finite amount of time, money, right, in this water. We have a finite amount of time. We have a finite amount of money. You guys are in school for 8 hours a day. That doesn't leave a lot for other things. The joke's on you. When you graduate, then you get a job for 8 hours a day, right? We don't have a lot of extra time to give. And so let's say this, my Croton here, is growing closer to God. This is my goal. Hopefully it is. I want to grow my knowledge of God. I want to grow my understanding of God. Maybe it's something less spiritual. Maybe it's better grades. Maybe you want to be a college athlete, right? Maybe you want to do something great with your life. Maybe you want to write something. Maybe you want to invest in something. Maybe you want to grow in something. That's what this is. This is this good thing. Over here, we have all the other stuff, right? Like video games and our phones and these bad relationships that we invest in. And so what begins to happen is we begin to pour into this one, watering this one, investing in this one, planting this one, hoping that one grows. And you know we've all done it. So we hope this one grows by investing in this one. Well, if I spend just a couple more hours doing whatever it is, then I'll go to this. But the answer is you never get over there, do you? We spend all of our time investing here, and we wonder, why is this not growing? Why can't I get closer to God? Well, because the answer is you haven't spent any time with Him. Why are no colleges looking at me to be an athlete? Well, because you never spent any time outside of practice practicing. Because all your time is invested over here in whatever that thing is that is taking you away. Maybe it's a little less harmless than video games. Maybe it's an addiction in your life. Maybe there's something in your life that has so consumed you, you take and put all the good stuff over here that you want to do, and you physically cannot pull yourself away because you're spending all your time over here. And what does the Bible say? Which plant is going to grow? That one. Every time. Every time. Which dog wins in a fight? The one you feed. Which plant's going to grow? That one. My croton going to grow? My croton's not going to grow. At least I don't think it will. Right? We put all of our time into one basket. We put all of our time into stuff we shouldn't, and we wonder why this won't grow because we're investing in things we shouldn't. But the trick about investing, what you have to remember and what we miss so often is in order to invest in something good, I have to give up something. I don't have unlimited money. I don't have unlimited time. In order to see this grow, I have to say no to something. Our other issue is, what do we try to spend all of our time doing? Listen, you only have 24 hours in a day. You have to give something up. And so the question for us, as we get to the end here, like I said, I kind of want to wrap up so you guys can get to life groups, is what are you investing in? And here in a minute, I'm going to have Tony come up, and I'm going to have my wife come up. And we're going to take a second, and we're going to think through what are some things we want to accomplish this year? What are some things we want to accomplish this year in life groups? What are some things we want to accomplish spiritually? If you guys want to go ahead and lay them down, it'd be great. What are some things that we want to accomplish spiritually here? What are some things we want to accomplish in life groups that we're being held back from? What are some things, as we come out of COVID, we're so excited to be back and be back together. What are we going to do with that? What are we going to do with that? What are we going to spend our time on? What are we investing in? So what we're going to do over the next 4 weeks, we're going to have different subjects and different things we're going to talk about. And what I want you guys to do is, I have Sharpies up here, is I want you guys to come up here and write a couple things on it. I just want you to write a couple things on it. A couple of things we're looking forward to. Maybe it's growing closer to God. Maybe it's better grades. Maybe it's a better athlete. Maybe whatever. Because we got to understand, if we know where we're going, it's going to be a lot easier. So, in closing, I think that's what we're going to do. So if you guys will come on up, we have a bag of Sharpies. Tony's got some Sharpies she's laying out. Just write anywhere on the white or the green. Man, what are some things you want to do this year? What are some things you hope to accomplish this year? What are some things that you say, my time, money, and effort is worth investing in? All right, if you guys want to go ahead and come on up. And then when you're done, just find your leader. Who's not here to share?
Leaving my past behind, setting my heart and mind on you, Jesus, Jesus. I'm reaching my hand to yours, believing there's so much more. Knowing that all you have in store for me is good, it's good. Day is a day you have made, I will rejoice and be glad in it. Today is a day you have made, rejoice and be glad in it. And I won't worry about tomorrow. I'm giving you my fears and sorrows. Where you lead me, I will follow. I'm trusting in what you said. The day is a day